Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Gonna do another video today. Not really all that exciting. It's maintenance day for the Mark 5, so it's gonna be getting a oil change, and I gotta change a glow plug because I have a check engine light for that. So we'll dive right into it. Got a fresh shipment of parts here from FCP Euro. Best place to get anything from it for European cars. You got Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche. I think they also do Volvos. But filter, fresh drain plug. Here's a fresh glow plug. And Liquimolly oil. Now, before I get to actually doing any work on these vehicles, I have to do what is referred to as the car shuffle, because I own too many vehicles and have a single lane driveway. So I have to get the Mark IV out of my way and get the Rabbit pickup truck out of the garage, all so I can get the wagon in. Now, I already have the hood open for the Mark IV because the battery's dead. So I got to jump it off my jump box, and then we can get it out of the way and get the wagon back here. So I had to run in the house and get the jump box. I forgot to do that before I started filming. But once I got it, hooked it up to the battery, and found that the battery is drained so badly that my jump box wouldn't even recognize that it was connected. So had to put it into the emergency mode. That basically, overwrites the safety that's built into the jump box. And then after doing that, I forgot the key on the workbench. So I had to run back into the garage, grab that, and at long last, I can start the car. So, of course, the truck had sat for too long without me starting it, which is my own stupidity, unfortunately. And what I cut out here is I tried cranking it like 5 more times while it was sitting there, and it still didn't want to turn over. It would run off the starter, but the moment that I let go of the key, it would fall flat on its face again. So, I had to run in and get Caitlin to come help me. Once she came out, and a little explaining of how we're going to push this, because I didn't want to push it the entire length of the driveway, I decided that I was going to try pushing it into the grass, which seemed like a great idea at the time. But then when it came to putting the truck back in the driveway later, it really sucked because that had sunk into the ground because it was nice and soft from the recent weather that we had gotten. After we got that pushed out of the way, I didn't tell her before she came out that the camera was rolling, so as she was leaving, I told her to say hi on the way by, which is why you get this. Now it's time to jack it up. So I start with the front end. That way I can get each side of the car high enough to put the jack stands underneath the rear pinch welds. And then I pull the jack around and jack it up from the front subframe and put both jack stands underneath each side to get the entire car up in the air. And then move on to removing the splash shield and draining the oil out from underneath. I don't generally like the splash shields on vehicles just because there's so many bolts to them, but because this is pretty much a factory car, I just leave it on. Pop the engine cover off real quick, then get a 32mm socket to remove the filter cap. This car has a top fill filter, so the element snaps into the cap. Then get back underneath the car, put a fresh drain plug in and torque it to 22 foot-pounds, or 30 Newton meters. Walk over to the workbench and use a 90-degree pick tool to pull the filter O-ring off. Back over the car to put the filter in. For whatever reason, the filter did not want to go in this time for me. The glow plug harness runs right around the filter housing, and the wrap on it has kind of become frayed over the years, so it kind of gets in the way. Put a fresh 4.5 quarts of oil in it. Put the shield back, the splash shield on underneath, and keep on moving. Alright guys, oil change over. Last part of every oil change that I do. Well, except for I still have to go into VAGCOM and reset the service interval for this car, but I'm not going to do that with you guys on the camera. This is my board that I keep track of everything on. So, as you can see, this sat off the road for a little while, so we'll apparently it's been on the board for 2 years too long. Alright, after some hard scrubbing, let's try that again. And now on to doing glow plugs. So glow plugs on these cars aren't the most accessible things in the world. They're right here, all 4 of them, right behind the intake manifold. They have like custom boots, basically, kind of like spark plug boots, but they're like a harder plastic. But the clips are like all the way down the bore to get them, and these are like notoriously brittle. So we're gonna try not to snap any of these while doing this, but I need to do this guy right here. That's it. That's the only one. So let's get to it. Wiggling the glow plug boots from left to right seemed to unseat the connectors pretty well, and then just allow you to pull straight up. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough room with the fuel rail, so I had to disconnect a few more things to get complete access to pull these. Well, got it out. Really isn't that bad. Thought it was going to be worse from what I looked at on the internet, but surprisingly it wasn't. So here's, I'll walk over into the light. Here's a little comparison of old versus new. So, ooh, almost fell over. This is the original. I have all the service records for this car from my mom, and I don't think glow plugs were ever done. So this is 225,000 miles, and then this is brand new. So a little different in design, but not too bad. Just, you know, this one's seen a lot of combustion cycles. The only thing that I had to do versus what I've seen on the internet for doing this is I didn't have enough room to pull the harness boots off and up out of the bores. So I loosened up the fuel rail. I also took, so cylinder number 1, I took that out as well. That way this whole thing would move, because that is the tray that the fuel rail or the glow plug harness lays in. So I took the nut off of there, which is one of the fuel rails, and then I took the bolt out of this as well, which is all one unit. That way I had more play. Now, if you need even more room whenever you do this, if you took that bolt out, which mine looks like it's been rounded wonderfully, this would give you the most access possible, because this is held in, this black rail here is held in underneath this hose and right there. It's like I'm bottoming out on that right now. So if you needed to do cylinder number 3, it looks like it sucks. Because you'd have to unbolt all of this, lift it up as much as you could, pull that out. I really don't. You would think that Volkswagen would run that over the top from the factory, but oh well, it is what it is. Now let's move on to reassembly, and we'll be done with maintenance work for the day. Install is really just the reverse of removal. So torque for the glow plugs is 12 Newton meters or 8 foot-pounds, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, got it all done. All the cars are back. Well, gotta push that, but Caitlin's gonna have to come out and help me with that. But as you can see, the Mark IV is in the garage now. So next episodes will be making a new exhaust system for that, but I got a few things to wrap up first with as far as tools, and I gotta order piping and all that stuff too before I get into this. But thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.